presentation of a bill, presentation and consideration of a report. There shall be motions, and then there shall be bill for concurrence, consideration of a report. This is NAS Television. You can always subscribe to us via Facebook, YouTube. All you need to do is to type Nigeria Senate and then click on to search. There will unfold what transpires in the chamber. And our website is www.nas.gov.ng, where we take you to actions to actions, words to words, events to events, in all that takes place in the proceedings. Well, do not go away. Join us shortly as we take you through the proceedings proper. I'm Christy Awudage from NAS Television. Good morning.
Let us pray. Almighty God, ruler of heaven and earth, we beseech thee to inspire and guide all our counsels and actions, so we may always walk in the path of justice, love and joy to one another. Help us with thy grace to do only those things that promote unity, happiness, and prosperity of Nigeria. Amen. Chief Whip.
Distinguished senators, kindly take your seat. The Senate is about to start. Business of the day. Senator Fayeshe. Senator Fayeshe, go back to your seat. Senator Fayeshe, go back to your seat.
Chief Whip, are we ready?
Mr. President, sir, the Senate is ready for today.
Thank you, Chief Whip. Very distinguished colleagues, you are most welcome to today's proceeding. We'll now look at the votes and proceedings of Thursday, the 1st day of March 2018. Page 1989. Page 1990. 1991, 1992, 1993, 1994, 1995, 1996, 1997, 1998, 1999, 2000, page 2001, 2002, 2003, 2004, 2005, 2006, 2007, 2008, 2009, 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024, 2025, 2026, 2027, 2028, 2029, 2030, 2031, 2032, 2033, 2034, 2035, 2036, 2037, 2038, 2039, 2040, 2041, 2042, 2043, 2044, 2045, 2046, 2047, 2048, 2049, 2050, 2051, 2052, 2053, 2054, 2055, 2056, 2057, 2058, 2059, 2060, 2061, 2062, 2063, 2064, 2065. Sedonyako.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise to move the motion that the votes and proceedings of Thursday, 1st March 2018 be approved. I so move. Thank you.
Very well, thank you. Senator Jang.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, I'm Jonah David Jang representing Plateau North. I rise to second the motion ably moved by Senator Nyako to approve the vote and proceedings of Thursday, 1st March 2018. I so support. I so second.
Thank you. Dear colleagues, those in support of the motion that the votes and proceedings of Thursday, the 1st day of March 2018, be now approved, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Announcements. Dear colleagues, this announcement is from Senator Wamako. The meeting of the Ad hoc Committee on Investigation of Allegations of Corruption against the NYSC Trading Limited, earlier scheduled for this week, has been postponed. The Honorable Minister of State for Petroleum Resources and the Group Managing Director of NYSC, who were to appear before the committee, are both out of the country. A new date will be communicated. Signed, Senator Aliu Wamako, Chairman. Further announcement. We have at the gallery staff and students of International Model Science Academy, Kwale in Abuja. Also have staff and students of Avenger First Global School, Kubu, Abuja. Also staff and students of Crest International School, Maraba. And then staff and students of Bapseso School, New Karu. That's our state. On behalf of the Senate, I would like to welcome each and every one of you. Welcome to the Senate. You can settle down and observe today's proceeding. Sit down. Senate leader. Petition, okay, go ahead.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, distinguished colleagues. My name is Brian Gober. Your Excellency, I have a petition against the National Council of Arts and Culture, Operation Unavoidable Inferno at the Arts and Crafts Village in Abuja. Some of the tenants have been there for quite a long time, more than 10, 15 years, but still, they are constantly under harassment of so many security agencies. So they approach this chamber for finding solution to the inferno. And I think before it goes out of hand, it's better we send it to this hollow chamber so that it can be discussed and then iron out. Thank you very much, Your Excellency.
All right, go ahead and lay it. Thank you so much. It's referred to the Committee on Ethics and Petitions to report back in 4 weeks. Any other petition? Senator Oba.
Thank you, Mr. President. Distinguished colleagues, Obin Oba is my name. I'm in Central. Mr. President, I have a petition from one of my close friends against the nefarious activities that is going on maritime sectors. Mr. President, this has become a burden to the man who is former staff of that agency. And there's no legal impediment against this position. I may have the permission to lay it.
All right, go ahead and lay it. This also referred to the Committee on Ethics and Petitions to report back in 4 weeks. Ogembe, yes?
Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. My name is Senator Ahmed Ogembe. Mr. President, I'm from Kogi Central. Mr. President, I have a petition here from one of my constituents, the Bureau of People's Human Rights Defense Against the National Population Commission. It's about the non-implementation of the Census Tribunal judgment in favor of Okene and Ajakuta local government area. Mr. President, with your kind permission, may I lay this petition? Otazi.
Go ahead now. Go ahead and lay the petition. is also referred to the Committee on Ethics and Petitions to report back in 4 weeks. Any other petition? Senate Leader.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the first business of the day is the presentation of a House Bill standing in my name on the Energy Commission Act Amendment Bill 2018. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Energy Commission Act Amendment Bill 2018, HB 72 and HB 446, first reading.
Dear colleagues, Energy Commission Act Amendment Bill 2018 has Bill 72 and 446, first reading taken. Leader.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the first order of the day is the presentation of the Conference Committee report of the Nigerian Financial Intelligence Agency Act ETTB 2018. Distinguished senators, you will recall that the Senate and the House passed different versions of this Nigerian Financial Intelligence Agency Act ETTB 2018. The Conference Committee on both houses have met and harmonized the differences in accordance with the Senate Study Order 87. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Distinguished Senator Chukwuka Utazi to move the motion for the Senate to receive the conference report.
Senator Utazi.
Thank you, Mr. President. I am Senator Chukwuka Utazi. I represent the good people of Enugu North Central District of Enugu State. Mr. President, I rise to move that the Conference Committee report on a bill for an act to establish Nigeria Financial Intelligence Agency as the central body in Nigeria responsible for receiving, requesting, analyzing, and disseminating financial intelligence reports and other information to law enforcement, security and intelligence agencies, and other relevant authorities, and for related matters, 2018 be accepted. So moved.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, my name is Suleiman Adoke. I rise to support the motion heavily moved by my colleague Senator Utazi.
Is this correct? In support of the motion that Senate do not receive this report, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Senator Utazi, proceed to lay the report. Just for laying. Thank you, Senator Otazi. I think this is a very important bill, and I'm happy you've been able to come into agreement with the House of Representatives on the final nature of this bill. It's going to be one major achievement of the Senate and indeed Nigeria, in ensuring that Nigeria's suspension is lifted among the Egmont group. So it is important that we try as much as possible to consider this report, hopefully by tomorrow, so that ahead of the meeting of the Egmont group, Nigeria will be sure of the suspension being lifted, and then will be counted amongst the Committee of Nations that are responsible in terms of good governance and the fight against corruption. So I want to thank Otazi and his group for concluding work on this bill. Thank you. State Leader.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the second order of the day is a motion standing in the name of Senator Benga Ashafa and 8 others on the need to minimize the possibility of air mishap and near fatality in Nigeria. Mr. President, you may wish to invite Senator Benga Ashafa to move the motion.
Senator Ashafa.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I rise to present the motion on the need to minimize the possibility of air mishaps and near fatalities in Nigeria. This bill, co-sponsored by 14 senators, the names of the remaining 6 senators are Senator Fatai Buhari, Senator Sabi Abdullahi, Senator Chukwuka Utazi, Senator James Manager, Senator Soji Akombi, Senator Kabir Marafa, Senator Rafiu Ibrahim, and Senator Ahmad Ogembe. Observes that on the 20th of February 2018, the story of a near-fatal incident involving Dana Airlines with number 9J0363 hit the news waves. It was reported that the aircraft overshot the runway upon landing at Port Harcourt Airport on a flight from Abuja. This incident was attributed to the wet surface of the runway. Recalls that just a few weeks before the aforementioned event, there was also a panic on Wednesday, 7th of February 2018, when the emergency door of an aircraft conveying passengers to Abuja fell off upon landing at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport in Abuja. Aware that while the said aircraft was cleared to return to service on the same day by the relevant authorities, the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority, NCAA, an experienced pilot interviewed by this day newspaper of Thursday, 8 February 2018, was of the opinion that the aircraft might have experienced a component failure. In his words, as quoted by this day newspaper, what happened is likely to be a component failure due to a hard landing. It couldn't have fallen off when the aircraft was airborne because the aircraft cabin is pressurized. It is very difficult for that to happen, but it could fall off when the aircraft is on the ground. End of quote. Concerned that these recent occurrences might be a sign of a sequence of human errors caused by the failure of officials and staff of the agency saddled with the responsibility of guaranteeing safety to carry out their due diligence before issuing clearance for aircraft to operate within the Nigerian airspace. Recalls with sadness that Nigeria has experienced a significant number of air catastrophes that caused the lives of hundreds of Nigerians due to a range of causes, including human and technical errors. notes that a chronicle of air mishaps caused by human error, as published by Premium Times online newspaper of 21st February 2018 in an article titled Human Errors, Dereliction of Duty are Major Causes of Plane Crashes in Nigeria, stated as follows. Avoidable human errors and dereliction of duty by public officials working in the aviation sector have been major reasons for the loss of hundreds of lives in air crashes in Nigeria, reports by the Aviation Investigation Bureau have shown. End of quote. Note that the said article states further that some of the human errors identified by AIB as causes of the plane crashes include non-lightening of runways and airfields, poorly constructed drainage culverts, inaccurate information by the control tower, lack of proper certification of radio operators, and poor supervision of aircraft imported into the country. States with concern that it is against this backdrop that it has not become imperative to move with speed and alacrity in order to ensure that all relevant agencies in the aviation industry do their work with excellence and minimal human error in order to prevent avoidable loss of human lives. Therefore, results. 1. To direct the Senate Committee on Aviation to immediately summon the Honorable Minister of State for Transportation, Aviation, heads of the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority, NCAA, Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria, FAN, Accident Investigation Bureau, AIB, and every other relevant agency in the aviation industry to give a full brief of the steps that have been taken to minimize human errors and avoid preventable air crashes. 2. Urge the Honorable Minister of State for Transportation and Aviation to immediately direct all relevant agencies in the aviation industry to start conducting a maintenance and airworthiness audit exercises on all commercial aircraft operating within the Nigerian airspace, as well as the training of personnel operating within the industry. I so submit, Mr. President. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you, Senator Tazi.
Thank you, Mr. President. I am Senator Chukwuka Otaze. I represent the good people of Enugu Central District of Enugu State. Mr. President, as a co-sponsor to this very important motion by no less a person, our brother, most distinguished Tunde Shafa, I want to lend my support to this motion. Mr. President, 2015, before the composition of the committees of the Senate, Senator Ibn Nala brought a similar motion to this that compelled the presidency of the Senate to constitute an ad hoc committee led by Senator Gwangwazo. I happen to be a member of that ad hoc committee that visited the airports. We did a public hearing. We listened to all the people that are listed to appear before the committee to answer questions. And all the same issues that has reared up their heads again are the same thing that we saw when we moved last time. Most of us, after listening to this people and visiting all the airports, became very, very much afraid of entering planes. For a long time, I was using the Autostar that I used to go to Enugu, because I was afraid of what I listened from these professionals about our airports. And all the issues we raised on, during that ad hoc committee led by Gwangwaso, nothing has been addressed. Ordinary landing equipment that should be in the airports, the commonest of all things, that they can land at any time, whether in the daytime or the nighttime or during the rain. We don't have them in airports here. And the worst that some of those things that were procured already, we were shown where they were packed. They couldn't even install them in Abuja and in Lagos. And this is the same issue. I suffered as a result of this Edana issue in Port Harcourt, because I was to attend the Financial Action Task Force meeting in Paris. And I went to the airport waiting until 1 a.m. and they came and announced that the Air France that was to go to Port Harcourt to drop passengers could not drop them and couldn't come back to Lagos. Rather, he went to Lagos and dropped the passengers and kept them in a hotel, those that are bound for Port Harcourt, and waited. And that night, they asked us to go back home. The next day, we returned again. We couldn't fly because of the same problem. This is very much unwarranted and shouldn't happen in a country like us. We are complaining that we have only one runway in Abuja here. That if this one is closed, nobody moves. Last time we closed the whole airport just to repair, do some repairs at Abuja airport. Nothing is moving. I am of the opinion that outside asking the committee, as suggested here, that the aviation, the Minister of State for Aviation should appear before us here. And meet all of us here, because this is a very serious issue. You know, it's a very, very important issue that we invite him to appear before all of us here, not just the committee, because we have handled such issues in an ad hoc committee, and nothing has happened. So we have to bring the minister here so that he explain to us what has happened since he closed the airport and they done the repairs. If we do so, I think we'll be getting attention. If not, we'll be opening ourselves for losses that may happen as a consequence. Thank you for this.
All right, thank you, Senator Taz. Just Manager.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. My highly respected colleagues, James Manager, Delta South. Mr. President, I listened with rapt attention to the motion moved by Achafa, and of course I'm a co-sponsor of that motion. I became more worried after listening. In fact, I'm more worried after listening to Senator Chukwuka Otazi. Mr. President, we have to be very careful as a nation. We have had a lot of air mishaps, a lot. And we have lost quite a lot of very prominent Nigerians. And when this Dana airline incident happened, everybody was worried. Everybody was worried. And they gave an excuse. And this is how it gets started all the time. And before that one, there was yet another one. And, Mr. President, as a nation, we need to address some of these issues squarely and frontally too. Chukwuka Otazi has just told us that there was a committee, an ad hoc committee that was set up for this purpose. And having listened to the air, you know, it's a highly regulated industry. Having listened to the officers in charge, he decided to travel by road for quite a long time. If you go to our airports now, you have quite a lot of Nigerians getting ready to travel from one place to another without knowing some of these details that are on ground. Mr. President, this is a very serious matter. Very, very serious. And all of us, we travel by air. And we have these problems on ground. He has also revealed to all of us that most of the things that are supposed to be there are not there. Landing aids are not there. Some of the things, they have even bought them. They have purchased them. They are somewhere in the store. They have refused to install them. What a country. Mr. President, what a country. And when you travel by air, by the time you take off, you are, in fact, you say the first prayer and the last prayer. Both the first and the last all go. Because when you are in the air, everything is gone. No matter who you are, you may be the richest man on earth. You may be the poorest person on earth. But by the time you are in the air, you are there. You are there. If anything happens, the poor, the rich, and everybody goes. There's no discrimination about who is poor, who is rich. who is a senator, who is a clerk of a Senate committee, or who is a journalist, everybody goes. Mr. President, this is a very serious matter. It's not even a laughing matter, my respected colleagues. It's a very serious matter. Now that this motion is before us, Mr. President, I support the position taken by my learned friend, my colleague, Senator Tazi, that this matter is not just referring to a committee. Let us have the minister here. Not just the Minister of State, but because there's a minister. We invite the minister and the Minister of State. They should come and tell us what is happening. And I'm surprised that the Harvard Committee's report, if it was presented here, nothing has happened. Nothing has happened. And therefore, we also have a share in the blame. Nothing has happened. Not something will happen.
Put on your microphone, please. Microphone.
Mr. President, my respected colleagues, and therefore I support this motion wholeheartedly as one of the co-sponsors. Let us at least be seen to be doing something that is right, to give confidence to air travelers, to give confidence to Nigerians. And that's the reason why they have elected us here, to speak on their behalf, to do things on their behalf, to act on their behalf, to also react on their behalf. Thank you, Mr. President, for the opportunity.
All right, thank you. Senator Sabi.
Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. Dr. Aliu Sabi Abdullahi, Niger North. First, permit me to, commend my big brother, distinguished Senator Asapa, for this very timely bill. Motion, sorry. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the issue at hand, I think, calls for more decisive action than even what we are looking at. Because, like the last speaker said, or is it the last but one, that we actually had an ad hoc committee that looked at the issue of our aviation sector earlier in the year. And the issues are still with us. And I think we must give confidence to our citizens with respect to really using aviation to go about doing their business. And I think it is more disturbing given the fact that we are just about now getting a better transportation network where the rails are coming on board and then the roads are getting repaired. But the issue of the aviation sector, I think we really need to get down, if necessary, declare an emergency for this particular sector, because we cannot wait until it happens before we now start asking. When all the signals are coming out very clearly from a roof, from the door, being said to, what did they call it, to fall off, or is it emergency brake being applied? All these ones are near misses. When will the miss be missed? We don't know. And I wish we will never miss it, because we have to take action so that whatever is happening in this sector, we have to unravel it. I have confidence that this chamber has done great jobs in unraveling very difficult situations, and this will not be an exception. So I urge my colleagues that we should be very decisive with respect to this. If necessary, honestly, it is time for us to declare emergency. I'm a veteran by training. If you see 2-3 rabies dogs, honestly, that is an emergency. For the aviation sector, what has happened requires that we declare an emergency, because they are just lucky. Next time, people may not be lucky. And I don't want to find our situation where we'll come back here again and say, let's give them 1 minute silence. In fact, let us do the 1 minute decision now and save life from being destroyed through all of this nonsense that we're seeing. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Senator Buhari.
Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. My name is Buhari Abdul Fattah. Mr. President, just 2 days ago, Medview flew from Lagos to Abuja flying is the safest mode of transport. That's what the experts say. By Nigeria, when you are flying, you know, just like seen by senior colleagues, manager said, you are flying coffee. Even in the aircraft, at times you go, as if you are in one trailer. It's so funny. And then the truth of the matter is that the people doing their job are not doing it rightly. The incident that happened in Port Harcourt, the same aircraft 3-4 days earlier, that aircraft should have been grounded. They shouldn't even allow it to fly again, and then they should have checked all the aircraft in their fleet. But no, you will not see people doing the wrong thing at the right time. When the incident now happened, we will now be saying that let's investigate. Like Sabi said, let's do the 1-minute decision now by taking a drastic decision rather than doing the 1-minute silence for people. We have to save Nigeria. Flying in Nigeria is horrible. The moment you are stepping inside that aircraft, you yourself, like the contest said, you are afraid of 1 hour flight, only 1 hour flight. But the moment you are going from here to Australia, which is 19 hours flight, you just lay your bed and sleep. We should be able to have that confidence in flying in Nigeria. In supporting this motion, I agree that we need to call the aviation expert and the Minister of Aviation to come and explain to us and take a decision so that nothing drastic will happen to this country. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
All right, thank you, Senator Jubrin.
Thank you, Mr. President. First of all, Mr. President, I want to commend the sponsor of this motion and co-sponsors for bringing before this very, very important issue, which, if left untapped, will spell disaster not only to the people of this country in terms of their lives, but to our economy. Having safe aviation system operation in any country is not only for the good of the people in terms of their lives, but also for the good of the economy of that nation. Because it's a very important component in the economic arrangement of every nation. Mr. President, what we are seeing today in this country is something that is worrisome. Very, very worrisome. A lot of instances have been given when disaster will have occurred, but God help to stop that. I remember just a few weeks ago, there was a case of armed robbery attack on a plane that was about to take off. And I heard that it's only in this country that will happen. It doesn't happen in any of the world except in Nigeria. How could a robbery attack happen, or robbers? How could you have attacked the plane if the security arrangement of an airport are something to really rely upon? So, Mr. President, as said by Senator Tazi and echoed or emphasized by good friend Senator Buhari, we need to invite the minister. Let him come here. It's not an issue that, we could just call the MDs of the various agencies and have, hear from them. The minister should be here. We should invite him, let him come here and explain to us. It's an emergency issue. Let's declare it of emergency on our aviation sector, because we can't allow our people to die, because of the way people are running this, the aviation sector. We know that something wrong. We know there's a problem. We should not allow a disaster to occur before we begin to pray for those who are going to be affected by that disaster. We need to take action now, and the time to take that action is now. So I urge my colleagues to support this motion so that we can have a drastic measure applied to bring back to the state of safety, and to go in line with what is happening in other parts of the world, so that we can rest assured anytime we are traveling by air within this country or outside this country using our domestic aircraft. I saw some of you, Mr. President. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Sir Kofi.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues. My name is Senator Omar Ibrahim Kofi, representing Katina Central. Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues, let me start by saying that this problem we are having, I think, is more to do with the subject matter. The subject matter is the aircraft. Now, Mr. President, if you look at the U.S., the JFK airport, at least every minute, an aircraft will go up and an aircraft will land. The same thing to Heathrow, the same thing even to Dubai. So now, why is it in Nigeria? There must be a reason. The reason is most of the aircraft we are using, Mr. President, and my people are really old. They are old. They are not sound. They are airworthy. And you are talking of rain. In landing, it rains almost throughout the air. The same thing in air. So it is not a question of rain. We should now see what actually are the problems we are having with aircraft. In the past place, Mr. President, our aircrafts are old. And they are not sound. And there is need for us to train and retrain our pilots. Most of the pilots are not well trained. If now in the US there is no any mishap for the whole year, why are we having it 10 times here? There must be a reason. So let us look at the main reason that should be regular servicing of our aircraft. Most of our aircraft are not regular service. We are just managing. Then I think, Mr. President, the runways, even we have, they are not adequately lighted. You find that there is not enough gutter. So these are issues that we should discuss. So I support this motion, and I am now saying that if possible, Mr. President, we should invite Aviation Minister and then the expert, so that she should tell us actually what actually are the main problems which we can look at so that we solve the problem. Because these problems, unless we solve the problem around us, that's all we can do. And the first is the aircraft. Most of our aircraft here we're using, they are old. So, Mr. President, I support this motion, and I want my colleagues to support this. I so say this, sir.
Thank you, Senator Mawagwa Abunwa.
Mr. President, distinguished Senator, my name is Senator Mawagwa Abunwa, a co-sponsor of this motion. Mr. President, the doing was talking about a serious matter, but it becomes more worrisome when we talk about human error. When we talk about machine equipment failure or non-installation, it's a different thing. But when we talk about human error and consistently, I begin to wonder what is there for us to do. Because like it's been said, when you're right there, it's only between you and God. But when you're on ground, you know, if it's by air, by road, you can, if you see the driver sleeping, you can ask driver, please stop me here, I want to get down. But when you are up there, you cannot tell the pilot anything. You won't even see the pilot to know what is happening. So it is important that this should be properly investigated. Because if you look at the level of fatality and the consequence and the consistency, just like Dana, I begin to wonder, what is the big deal about Dana? That Dana, within a short period, the door went off. Another one is skidded off the wrong way, and we are still allowing Dana fly. I thought that the AIB of the NCAA by now should have banned Dana from flying and investigate or screen both their pilots and their airline, the plane properly. But unfortunately, we can't see this happening. So for me, I believe that this motion has come at the right time, but we must take drastic resolution or decision as far as airlines and especially Dana is concerned. First and foremost, I'm in support of the fact that we should bring the Honorable Minister to come and explain to us what is happening and how do we solve this human error. Because it's a serious matter. It's not about equipment, it's not about wrong way, but when you have a pilot you cannot trust, you, like somebody said, no more confidence. Where are we heading to? Do we have to be, travel from here to Enugu by auto start, which is a short distance of about 6 hours. But imagine when you're going from here to maybe Medugri or somewhere, will you have to be traveling by road? Road has its own consequences and its own problem. So, Mr. President, I'm of the opinion that we should invite the Minister of State Transportation here, and two, we should ask that Dana must be properly investigated, and if possible, ask AIB to suspend Dana for now. If it's coincidental, fine, so be it, but let's be sure. But it can't, within 2 weeks, you have 2 near misses. I think it's worrisome and it's something we really need to look into seriously. So I'm supporting this motion, but with these few amendments, maybe when we get to the prayers, we'll come up again. Thank you, Mr. President, for allowing me to speak.
Okay. Senator Bola, Senator Ogba. After Ogba, Gobre, Anyang, and then we'll go to the prayers.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senator Obito Ogba, my name. I represent Ebonyi Central District, Ebonyi State. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I rise to lay my voice on this very important motion. Mr. President, my own opinion is that looking at what is happening in the aviation industry, we are talking about aircraft itself. We also have to look at the land staff. Mr. President, last year, November, when we were going to Were, we were about 3 minutes or 3 seconds to land. Surprisingly, the pilot took off again. This aircraft were carrying that very day, I think the wife of the governor of Imo State did her birthday. So many wives of governors were inside that aircraft. So when we took off, we were surprised again. And later the pilot announced to us, do you know what happened? That he saw a bike, a motorcycle bike, crossing the tarmac. And he told us that such thing can only happen in a country like Nigeria. Mr. President, I want to support the invitation of the Honorable Minister for State for Aviation. But my worry is this, Mr. President, it's like we're here just for talk shop. All this argument upon debate, after arriving at the conclusion, the executive will not take it serious. They will not do anything about it. If the Honorable Minister appears here and speak his own grammar from now to tomorrow, what are they going to do about it? I think that, distinguished colleagues, we must have to devise a means. What are we going to do to help this country? This country is in trouble. We are in trouble here, and something must be done about it. There's no decision tree here that the executive respects or even implements. So, Mr. President, as usual, let us invite the Honorable Minister. You remember that when we invited him, when he said he's going to maintain and close the entire airport, he came here, said all the things he said. He said he's going to do so many things. Those things he promised to do, we have not seen part of them, only that they have completed the runway, the maintenance. So, Mr. President, I strongly support this motion and urge my colleagues also to support the motion. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator Gobre.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, distinguished colleagues. First, I would like to thank the mover of this motion, Benja Ashafa, because this motion is very important to help save the lives of our own people. First, I would like to say the real problem we have in this country is the lack of maintenance culture. It is the maintenance culture that is creating all these problems in this country. Let me give you an example. I was on a helicopter from, let's say, Oslo to Brisbane. And by the time we mounted the helicopter, somebody told us, in fact, the pilot said that, do you know the age of this pilot, this helicopter? We said no. He said it's about 50 years old. Then many of us started shaking. He said, no, don't worry about that, because it is not the age that matters, but the maintenance. So to be candid, it is important to understand that the maintenance culture is the most important thing. And therefore, there must be training and retraining of engineers who should be able to repair these aircraft. For example, the issue that happened when immediately the plane landed, the door actually opened. Assuming there was depressurization, airborne, that means there was loss of pressure. That means the door would have opened or would have fallen off, airborne. And then that means the disaster was in the making. So I think it is important to intensify the maintenance culture in this place. The other problem is the economic situation in the country.
whether we like it or not, we cannot dissociate this problem with the economic situation we have in the country. So I think there is need. We try to economically look at what is happening and then also look at all the stakeholders in this country, you know, so that we can discuss with them and then find out why they are having problems. Because the real problem is that they have been getting money from government, but they have not been using this money properly, you know, to repair the aircraft. So I think that is need we look at this issue. I remember in 2012, about 350 billion was given to somebody, and he utilized that money to establish a bank instead of fixing the aircraft. So I think it's important to have not only, not only to call the minister and others, but there is need to have also a public hearing so that people can understand what is happening there, and then we know what to do with this. So I support this motion. It's very important to influence. Thank you.
Father is Netanyahu.
Thank you, Mr. President. Very distinguished colleagues. My name is Sam Anyanwu, Imo East. First of all, let me appreciate my colleague, Senator Shafa, for bringing up this motion. I'm somehow concerned and affected with this motion, having been a husband of a pilot, a commercial pilot. Mr. President, my colleagues have extensively dealt with this motion, but I want to say this. It's not about the maintenance of our aircraft. The problem is the government. We must tell ourselves the truth. Mr. President, we have a colleague of ours in this chamber, Senator Stella Odua, Manabra, who happened to be a minister of aviation. During her tenure, the first fleet of all the airports in Nigeria was done by her. Everybody applauded her. It was only this government that never appreciated what she did. Instead, please, now, instead, they tried to, drill her using the instruments of destruction, which is the EFCC. Sir, today, none of S airlines go on sea check annually. The reason because of the foreign exchange. Most aircraft that all of us support this motion in the foreign exchange to pay those foreign exchange. And the only airline in Nigeria that has maintenance garage here is Aero. Today Aero is on operation because of AMCON. The place has been taken over. And Aero is the only airline in Nigeria that has never had any accident. Check it, it's on record. Now, Dana Airline, that aircraft is one of the most oldest aircraft that was manufactured about 1976. We have what is called the new generation plane. If you go to all these small countries, what you have is a new generation plane. But today, what is in operation in Nigeria is analog planes. And that is why it's just like an old vehicle. You keep maintaining it, and there will be a point it cannot move further. So I think it's important. All these money that have been collected, the ones that we receive from Kano, the ones that was buried in the land, the one that we saw at Lekki, why can't we use this and bail out these airlines? The airline business is a business that the profit is very minimal. So they need intervention of the government, either by tax waiver or by bailout, to be able to support them. Because if you look at, we have had Okada Airline. What is Okada Airline? We have had Cabo Airline. We have had Tatagi Airline. Where are those airlines? They cannot maintain. They're all gone. What we have today in Nigeria that is in operation is APIS, maybe ARIC. All these Bedview, Asthma are just like a backup. They're a backup. The government needs to invest in this airline, support them, so that people can, because where air accidents has a class of people that enters the plane. Anyone that can afford business class or even economy to enter the plane is a very special person. So when there's air mishap, you find out that a class of people is wiped away. So it is important. We must look at this issue critically. Those who have private jet don't understand what people like us are suffering. I've entered an aircraft where the tire refused to shoot down. That day, I tried to bring my phone to test my family farewell. Until after how many minutes, the tire was able to shoot out. So I think it's important, sir. Let us not use a matter of bringing the minister here. The issue of bringing the minister here means nothing. If we have done this several times, we bring a minister here, we'll do everything, just like my colleague Senator Binogba said. You bring them, pass the resolution, they look at us as a bunch of idiots that don't know what we're talking about. It is important we must find a way out for the government to give a bailout to these airlines. Why don't we look today, sir? Ethiopia, their major revenue is from the airline. Up to today, Nigeria, as a nation, one of the most polluted countries in the world, in the whole of Africa, has no national carrier. It's a very big shit. Look at Cameroon. Look at Cameroon. Look at Ghana. Nigeria, we don't have any national carrier. What is our Nigerian Airways? It's gone. So I think that a very responsible government should look at this issue. It's not an issue of corruption, looking for this, looking for that, looking for who to return. Let us do the critical thing, because when it happens, if we cannot fix it, we look for Senator Matthew and Senator Clifford August. If our aircraft cannot be Maternal, we will not use the witchcraft and start flying. That is the truth. He has got a point where...
Yeah, microphone.
Yes, sir. So I think that it's important. It is important to look at this issue. This is not an issue of party. And when you say the right thing, people will actually have to put of order. We have to look at it. We are NSS men. We must look at this critically.
Yeah, microphone.
It is important that we look at this, sir. I support this motion. In its entirety, we must also address the issue that the government should look at the airline sector, the aviation sector. It's a very critical sector in this country. Most people don't want to enter Nigeria. Most foreigners don't come here because we don't have aircraft. Most our people don't come for holidays because they're afraid of what happened in Ghana, what happened in Sosoliso. What happened? Look at this. We must look at it. It's not a bishop.
Yes, point of order. Go ahead.
Distinguished Senator has deviated 53 for...
Read. Just read this order. I said 53. Read it now. Read it. Go ahead. Go ahead and read it now. Read the order you are citing.
Sir, what I'm saying is this.
Yeah. No, don't say anything. Read the order. You raise the point of I asked to read the order you raised. No, you are not borrowing. You are supposed to have your papers there. Anyway, I look out of order. Senator Lafia, we're supposed to have gone into the prayers now, but let me just quickly take Senator Lafia G and then Senator Odu, and then we'll go to the prayers, please.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, my distinguished colleagues. Mr. President, everything that needed to be said on this very important issue has been said. But let me first of all congratulate those who sponsored this motion. Two fundamental areas that, Mr. President, I want us to address regarding this motion that I believe are very important. First of all, the maintenance culture. Maintenance of these aircraft, perhaps a lot of us may not know. Maintenance is done outside this country. We have no maintenance facilities for these aircraft. And because of that, and because of the fact that foreign exchange becomes some problem for these aircraft, for this industry, a lot of this maintenance are skipped. And that may be a major cause. So we must work towards establishing maintenance facilities in this country, or make sure that we're able to bring maintenance facilities into this country so that we can get maintenance of this aircraft done as and when they are due. The other issue is the issue of bringing the minister here or whatever other thing we want to do. I believe that coming up with a public hearing that brings in everybody, those who are interested in the industry, those who are familiar with the industry, those who have experience whatsoever in all aspects of this industry, will help us better than bringing the minister here. Mr. President, I want to once again congratulate everybody that has contributed to this motion. I happen to serve on in this committee, and I know what we've been going through, and I know that we're not going to get much out of bringing minister here, other than public hearing and making everybody in this country that is interested to come and contribute and find solutions. But we must start maintaining our aircraft in this country. We must also make sure that whatever is done to ensure that these aircraft are maintained on a regular basis. Thank you, Mr. President.
Final Senator Odua.
Thank you, Mr. President. Dear colleagues, my name is Stella Odua, and I represent Anambra North. Mr. President, the issue concerning aviation on incidents and accidents is something that really has nothing to do with public hearing or no public hearing. In aviation, if you talk about processes, if you talk about policy, it's the most regulated unit, it's the most regulated ministry, if I take it so. Every department, indeed, no pilot can start an aircraft without going through an established process. All these processes are there. And so the issue is, why is it that these processes sometimes are not being followed? I don't think any pilot is suicidal to the extent that they want to kill themselves and in the process kill others. I don't think so. And so the first person whose responsibility it is to ensure that the accident does not occur, and indeed incident does not occur, is the pilot. And the pilot is in turn guided by the policies of aviation. And so you do not have aviation standard of Nigeria, you have a global aviation standard. The problem that aviation has is that of funding. Really funding. Funding because you need to train the personnel, funding because you need to buy the requisite equipment, funding that the airline operators need to ensure that the aircraft are maintained. In aviation, there are a number of hours that when you fly, you must shut down the aircraft and go for the maintenance. And so when an operator has to borrow at 30% plus, and he's regulated on the pricing he has on his ticketing, it's impossible. Something has to give. And so we must make sure that we tell aviation, number one, there is an existing master plan, there is an existing act that needs to be reviewed. The last time was done in 1960-something. So things that needed to be done, Mr. President, are well established. We just have to tell aviation to do the needful. Number one, government to give them the requisite fund that they need at a single-digit rate. That is the only way aviation airline operators can survive. Otherwise, they cannot. Therefore, intervention fund is required. For training, aviation needs special funding for personnel training. Excuse me. For equipment, ditto for that. And so, Mr. President, I want to support this motion, but differ with other speakers that it has to be because aviation is not doing what they are not supposed to do. It's because aviation is not equipped to do what aviation is supposed to do. Mr. President, like I said, I support this motion, and I want to urge my colleagues to please support this motion. But precisely, we know what should be done, and that's what we need to do. Thank you, Mr. President.
All right, thank you, distinguished colleagues. I think deliberately we allowed a lot of contributions because of the importance of this motion. And you recall that in 2016, we had a similar debate, set up a committee that went around and collected information, came up here, and then we reached a number of resolutions which were sent to the federal government. And today we are back to the same issue, debating the aviation sector and the security concern. So that shows that it's something that we need to do something quickly. As they say, it's better to make the hairs while the sun shines. The Christians will say that there's no repentance in the grave. So I think it's important that this matter is settled as quickly as possible so that they'll be able to be sure that those who fly in Nigeria will fly safely. So myself, I had my own personal experience of last month where an aircraft I was on board missed the runway twice. Missed the first one, came back and missed the second time. It was just God that saved us. So I'm sure that all of us, or most of us, have had similar experience. So it is important for us to ensure that this matter is sorted out and then that the regulatory agencies do their work, because once anything happens, there's nothing you can do to reverse it. So I'd like to thank everybody for making contributions towards this debate. So right now, just quickly go to the prayers. If you want to amend it, fine. If you want us to have additional prayers, I think it will help to ensure that this matter is dealt with as quickly as possible. The first prayer is to direct the Senate Committee on Aviation to immediately summon the Honorable Minister of State for Transportation, Head of Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority, Federal Airport Authority, Accidental Investigation Bureau, and every other relevant agency in the aviation industry to give a full briefing on the steps that have been taken to minimize human errors and avoid preventable air crash. In support of this prayer, say aye. Amendment, Senator Tazi.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm Senator Chukwuka Tazi. I represent Enugu North Central District of Enugu State. Mr. President, I suggest an amendment to this first one. To the first suggestion here, it goes thus. We resolve that we direct that the Minister of State for Aviation to appear before the Senate to explain and take questions on measures taken to ensure airworthiness of aircraft flying in Nigeria and other operational landing and availability of operational landing equipment in Nigeria.
The difference here is that instead of the committee come to the plenary, that's what they are saying. Is there any person supporting that? Ochendo. You are supporting the amendment. First of all, let's also put the question in respect of the amendment before we go to the main prayer. Those in support of the amendment that the minister appear before the Senate instead of the committee, say aye. Those against say nay. Okay, these are ayes have it. So prayer one, that the minister do appear before the Senate to explain the issues raised here. Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer two, urge the Honorable Minister of State for Transportation to immediately direct all relevant agencies in the aviation industry to immediately conduct a maintenance and an airworthy audit on all commercial aircraft operating within Nigeria airspace, as well as the training of personnel operating within the industry. Those in support of this prayer say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. All right, thank you, distinguished colleagues. Senate Leader.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the third order of the day is a motion standing in the name of Senator Fatima Rasaki. Yes, it's a proposal, Fatima. Mr. President, the mover of this motion, Rabi Rasaki, is not around now. Consequent to this, Mr. President, I move that the motion be stepped down for another legislative day.
Sir, Minority Leader.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, may I second that the motion be stepped down for another legislative day?
All right, dear colleagues, those in support of the motion that this particular motion be stepped down to another legislative day, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Senate Leader.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the fourth order of the day is a motion standing in the name of Senator Chukwuka Utazi and two others on the urgent need to repair and rehabilitate interstate roads in Nigeria. Mr. President, you may wish to invite Senator Chukwuka Utazi to move the motion.
Senator Utazi.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm Senator Chukwuka Utazi. I continue to represent the good people of Enugu North Central District of Enugu State. Mr. President, I move a motion for urgent need to repair and rehabilitate interstate roads in Nigeria. And I have a co-sponsors of Senator Ata Idoko, Kogi East, and Senator Stella Odua of Anambra North. This Senate aware that Nigeria has the longest network of roads in Africa after South Africa, with over 200,000 kilometers of roads in the country. This Senate believes that roads are important for communication, social integration, economic development, and defense access, as roads in Nigeria account for more than 95% of the movement of people, goods, and services. This Senate aware that road as a major infrastructure signposts the performance of a government in terms of provision of facilities to improve the quality of life of the citizenry. And it is one of the instruments to bolster economic growth, because building roads has many associated activities that spin into other facets of life. This is a concern that decaying road infrastructure with poor maintenance culture is one of the major developmental challenges Nigeria is facing presently. This is saddened that the poor maintenance of roads has led to loss of precious man-hours, vehicular disrepair, high accident rates, and high fatalities, ambushes by criminals and rapists, and other socio-economic frustrations. This Senate believes that an improved maintenance of Nigerian roads will lead to more social and economic interaction, facilitate integration, encourage commercial activities, provide a means for the evacuation of agricultural produce that are bound in the hinterlands, but which rot for lack of access to markets, improve demographic relations, and raise the quality of lives of the people, and that interstate roads particularly encourage cooperation and communication among various parts of the country. This Senate informed that Ida, Odolo, Nsukka, Adani, Otuocha, Onitsha Road, which traverses the three states of Kogi, Enugu, and Anambra, and which is in total disrepair, is a commercial, cultural, and social link between the people of the area through which the road passes. This Senate saddened that the road has been awarded to various contractors and which funds released to them by the federal government without any appreciable job done on the road, with many sections of the road impassable. This Senate convinced that an injection of funds for the repair and rehabilitation of the road, either by FEMA or the main Ministry of Works and other roads of that characteristics across the country, will have a serious impact on the developmental ambitions of the country and improve cross-country relations. This Senate accordingly resolves: 1. Urge the federal government to ensure the rehabilitation and repair of interstate roads in Nigeria in the 2018 fiscal year. 2. Mandate the Committee on Works and Housing and Infrastructure to investigate the award and execution of Ida, Odolo, Nsukka, Adani, Otuocha, Onitsha Federal Road, which has been in a state of total disrepair. And 3, urge the Federal Roads Maintenance Agency, FEMA, to, as an interim measure, begin immediate repair of the bad portions of the Ida, Odoro, Nsukka, Adani, Otuocha Federal Road to make it motorable pending full rehabilitation works can commence. I so move.
Basaban. Thank you, Mr. President. My distinguished and respected colleagues, Mr. President, I remain Albert Bassi, representing the people, the good people of Akwa Ibom Northeast. Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues, I rise to support this motion and to second it as well, Mr. President, because of the importance that the content of this motion represents. Mr. President, I know that as the National Assembly, year in, year out, billions of naira is appropriated by the National Assembly for the construction of roads across the length and breadth of this country. But I believe, Mr. President, that as a true representative of the people of this great country, we must increase state of our roads leaves much to be desired. Because I know, consciously with the President, that if there are no good roads across the length and breadth of this country, then inflation is bound to be on the increase. Unemployment is bound to be on the increase. Because road infrastructure is an enabling and a very critical success factor towards the enhancement of production activities across the length and breadth of Nigeria. Mr. President, I know that FEMA as an agency of government spends huge sums of money on a yearly basis on the maintenance of federal roads. But the standards and the quality of finishing of this road leaves much to deserve, Mr. President. Because year in, year out, every season, most of the FEMA roads are washed off. I think as a people, as a ministry, the ministry must improve and enhance its oversight on its related agencies. And if possible, we must obtain guarantees from the various contractors to guarantee the quality of work done such that whatever money is being spent, the value is added to our people. Mr. President, I think I rise to support this motion, and I urge all my respected colleagues to support this motion for the good and the good governance of all our people. Thank you, Mr. President.
All right, Senator Atai Edoku. After him, we'll take Shehu. And then finally, Sabian will go to the prayers.
Thank you, Mr. President, my highly respected colleagues. My name is Senator Atai Edoku Ali. I represent Kogi East. Mr. President, I rise to support this motion and to also say that I'm a co-sponsor of this motion. Mr. President, this motion is very timely. This motion is very important because it deals with one of the critical and serious problems that we face in this country. Mr. President, this motion simply is asking the federal government to intervene in interstate roads and rehabilitation and construction of interstate roads, particularly the one that affects three major states that connects the north and the south, especially the southeast. Mr. President, this road, Ida, Odolu, Unsuka, Adani, Otuocha, Onitsha, federal highways, connects three states in the sense that if this road is properly repaired and rehabilitated, it will take about 3.5 hours from Abuja to Onitsha. As it is now, it takes about 8 to 9 hours because of the state of that road, where travelers would have to go all the way around through Asaba to Onitsha, through Asaba to Onitsha, or go through Enugu-Ezike to the other side. But if this road is constructed, it takes about 1 hour, 30 minutes to Lokoja, it takes about 1 hour to Ida, and it takes about 1 hour to Onitsha. Mr. President, if this road is rehabilitated, it saves the pressure on the Niger Bridge. The Niger Bridge that has taken so many years that construction work has not been completed. Mr. President, it even reduces the pressure on the second Niger Bridge because there is no bridge on this road. There is no construction of bridge on this road. It is just rehabilitation of an existing road. And over the years, so many contractors have been paid, these jobs have not been done. I think this road is very, very critical to the connection between the north and the south. So I therefore urge my colleagues to support the construction of this road because it is economical, it makes life more easy, and it shortens the time to travel to the southeast by about 50%. So thank you, Mr. President, for this opportunity.
Shinsani, comrade.
Mr. President, I stand as comrade senator Shevusani to align myself with this motion. Mr. President, it has been close to 6 decades since the attainment of our flag independence. And from the first day to today, we are still talking about roads and good roads. It's quite unfortunate that year in, year out, we budget billions of naira to construct new roads and repair the old ones, but nothing have had nothing less than 5 to 6 motions in respect to federal roads or interstate roads. It's unfortunate, somewhere I read that the Minister of Works declared that there was no capital project in 2017. And we are just moving towards the end of the budget year, and we are rushing to do what we ought to do from the beginning of the year. It's quite unfortunate that you look at Kaduna to Abuja road. The only time it was attended to was that moment when the airport, the international airport, was closed down. We have seen how federal roads over the years, from rainy season to dry season, it has all been a series of torture for motorists and also for other persons who uses such roads. We have raised motions here, and I believe there is a bill in this Senate all aimed at addressing the issue of our roads. We cannot continue to talk about one issue year in, year out, decades after decades. The politicians of the First Republic, I happen to go through some of their manifestos. You see them talking about roads, about roads, about roads. And here we are, half a century, we're still talking about roads. I think it will be in the interest of this country for us to understand, realize and accept the value of having good roads, the ones that will link states specifically. We have wasted so much time in writing budgets, discussing budgets, but not funding projects that should be of priority to us. This motion is one of so many that have been raised on this floor and on so many floors in states' assemblies, but it has not actually been given the required attention it deserves. There's a need for us to move beyond theory and academics and attend to the situation of our roads. We cannot achieve any serious economic development without putting our roads in order. It has reached a point today, many lives were lost as a result of roads that are supposed to have been put in proper order. It is shameful and disgraceful that an oil-exporting country, an oil-producing country like Nigeria, will find it difficult to put its roads in order. It's so unfortunate that also governments after governments make boast of their achievements and put in the forefront the issue of federal roads as their priority. This motion should not be one of so many we have raised here without actually making any impact. It should be one that will bring to spotlight again the situation of our roads and the need to put them in proper perspective. Almost all the 36 states of the Federation, including Abuja, have been faced with roads that have been left unattended to for years. And then you see, for the sake of publicity or for the sake of elections, you see bulldozers being moved at the end of the year and television crew being invited. And then we thought that from then we will have a solution, but it has never been a solution. So I think we should take it to ourselves. It's either we build good roads that will stand the test of time and last for decades, or we should stop wasting money. Go to smaller countries, Cameroon, Chad, Benin Republic, and Burkina Faso. Those countries don't have as much as we have, but you can see the judicious use of resources to build roads that will last for years. So, Mr. President, this motion will send a clear message that enough is enough. There's a need for us. Instead of us to continue to talk about roads, let's do something about it in the interest of this country. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Senator Sabi.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. My brother has really taken so much time. I will keep mine very short. The issue the speakers have said is actually very serious. The road infrastructure is a very serious issue. I just want to add that in all of this, we have actually taken very major decisions in the past. And I think as much as this particular motion is talking about a particular location which has to do with Kogi, Anambra, and Enugu states, it is very true that we have other interstate roads that are having similar problems. And I think if you look at the whole of our road network, the central part of the country, of which Kogi is one, and many other states like Niger, Kwara, they suffer from heavy pressure because coming down from the south, going to the north, you must pass through roads in those areas. And I want to say that perhaps it is time for us to urge also our committees, either on FEMA or the Works Committee itself, to engage the relevant agencies and ministries so that we begin to have a strategy that addresses areas that are perennially having these problems. And it is occasioned by the fact that there is heavy pressure of movement of goods and people around those areas. We need to look at that so that we can actually ease the pain. It is a little bit disturbing when you see the same road that you have traveled 20 years ago, the same pothole, even though it's been repaired, the same pothole will come back again. It's disturbing. And I think the issue of quality of work is something that we need to, what they call it. Incidentally, the Senate Committee on FEMA, of which I'm a member, I know we've engaged FEMA of recent, and we are beginning to see signs that they want to take these things very serious. But we need to really look into what they are doing and urge them to continue along that path so that works that are given can actually be done at the right quality so that people can actually begin to see some respite as they travel for their various activities. With these few comments, I want to urge my colleagues to support this motion.
Okay, Emma Boaji, do you still want to speak? Okay.
Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. I am Emmanuel Boacha, I represent Taraba South. Mr. President, this motion is quite interesting because it affects virtually everybody seated here and our constituents. I remember shortly at commencement of the 8th Senate, a similar motion came up like this on the dilapidated roads across the country. And I think we gather input from individual senators and forwarded for action. Until now, I can comfortably say actually nothing reasonably had been done, except in few selected cases where the government had tried to rehabilitate roads. It grieves my heart, Mr. President, to comment on these issues because I know shortly after this motion, another one which dwells on mortality rate in Nigeria follows. Incidentally, one of the causes of high mortality rate in the country is as a result of the bad road network we have in this country. Mr. President, over 2 decades ago, when Professor Ali Muzri alluded to this dilapidated standard of our roads, he meant business. That as at then, long ago, that we're still battling to, create road networks to our villages. But other countries, whether in the West, if you like it, but even now in developing countries, a lot of them are already building roads to moon. While we're still battling to locate, exit routes out of our communities and to our communities. And I'm also worried about the so much noise we make about the rail project, I think which was initiated by the Jonathan administration, and up till now is still has not seen the light of the day, because this will have reduced the pressure on most of the roads we have. Once they award these roads, mostly for pecuniary benefit to companies that are not known, they do it quickly to collect the money, very typical of a Nigerian. And after a year or two, the road returns back to its old shape. I think these areas must be seriously addressed. Otherwise, we will continue to be playing politics with these things. Change, yes, we want to change. We are still waiting to see how this will make impact on the common man, because we haven't seen a very reasonable change in this sector, which is very, very germane in conveying food products, particularly those of us from the rural areas, that we think our food product, our farm product, needs to be moved to the cities for export processes. This is not being done, and yet we keep playing politics with these things. I pray the Lord will grant us the grace to address this critical sector, the road infrastructure, which is key in our economy. Thank you, Mr. President, and I support this motion.
All right, thank you, distinguished colleagues. Let me also thank Senator Tazi for bringing the plight of his people to the attention of this Senate. I think it's one of our responsibilities as representatives of the people to always raise issues concerning our people. Whether the executive will hearken or not, we would have done our job. But I think it's their own interest to do so, because government is instituted for the welfare of the people. And as a parliament, we will continue to defend and fight on the side of the people. Parliamentarians are the knights of the people they represent. So they will continue to fight on their behalf. And sometimes we win, sometimes we lose. But we'll never get weary of fighting for our people. So I'd like to thank Utaz again for drawing our attention to the issues. And of course, we use the opportunity to draw the attention of the federal government in respect of the state of our roads. And we are prepared to work with the federal government to ensure that these matters are addressed, because there's no way a country can function without the presence of good roads. So this is also a critical infrastructure that will help to drive the rest of the economy. Because for me, every good road is an economic corridor. So it is important that we quickly address the issue of roads so that our people will have easy and successful passage, all over the country. So this is critical, and we must continue to raise this issue, hoping that together we'll address it and our people will be happy for it. So having said this, distinguished colleagues, let's quickly go to the prayers. Prayer 1, urge the federal government to ensure the rehabilitation and repair of interstate roads in Nigeria in the 2018 fiscal year. Those in support of this prayer say aye. Those against saying nay, the ayes have it. Prayer 2, mandate the Committee on Works to investigate the award and execution of the EDA, Odolu, Suka, Ada, and Otuocha Onitsha Federal Roads, which has been in a state of total disrepair. Those in support of this prayer say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Prayer 3, all the Federal Road Maintenance Agency to, as an interim measure, begin immediate repair of the bad portions of the EDA, Odolu, Suka, Ada, and Otuocha Onitsha Federal Road to make it more travel pending when full rehabilitation works can commence. Those in support of this prayer say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. All right, thank you, distinguished colleagues. State leader.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the fifth order of the day is a motion standing in the name of Senator Ahmed Ogembe on the alarming maternal and infant mortality rate in Nigeria. Mr. President, you may wish to invite Senator Ahmed Ogembe to move the motion.
Senator Ogembe.
Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. My name is Senator Ahmed Ogembe. Mr. President, I'm from Kogi Central Senatorial District. The Senate notes with concern the alarming rate of maternal and infant mortality in Nigeria. The Senate further notes that statistics have shown that every single day Nigeria loses about 2,300 under 5 years old and 145 women of childbearing age. The Senate is concerned that Nigeria is the second largest contributor to the under 5 and maternal mortality rate in the world. The Senate is further concerned that research has shown that essential intervention reaching women and babies on time is capable of averting most of these deaths. The Senate is aware that preventable and treatable infectious diseases such as malaria, pneumonia, diarrhea, measles, and HIV and AIDS account for more than 7% of these deaths. Further aware that malnutrition is the underlying cause of morbidity and mortality of a large proportion of pregnant women, newborn, and children under 5 in Nigeria. The Senate is worried that the death of newborn babies in Nigeria represents a quarter of the total number of deaths of children under 5, and majority of these deaths occur within the first week of life. The Senate is further worried that a woman's chance of dying from complication during pregnancy and delivery in Nigeria is 1 in 10 births. Although many of these deaths are preventable, the coverage and quality of healthcare services in Nigeria has continued to fail women and children. The Senate knows that less than 20% of health facilities in Nigeria offer emergency obstetric care, and only 30% of deliveries are attended by skilled birth attendants. The Senate recognizes that under the auspices of Federal Ministry of Health and the Integrated Maternal, Newborn and Child Health strategy has been put together to revitalize primary health care in every local government and considerably extend coverage of key maternal and child health intervention. Further recognizes that under the Federal Ministry of Health, there is the National Strategic Plan of Action on Nutrition. The Senate is alarmed that these programs have contributed very little to reduce the maternal, newborn, and infant mortality rate in Nigeria. The Senate accordingly resolved mandate the Senate Committee on Women Affairs and the Senate Committee on Health to liaise with the Federal Ministry of Women Affairs and Federal Ministry of Health on ways to curb maternal, newborn, and infant mortality in Nigeria and report back to the Senate. I so much thank you, Mr. President.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, my name is Senator Mao Aruko Wabumwabia North. Mr. President, I stand to...
Sorry, we'll take a state or do, and then Benga and Shafana go to the prayers. Put back a microphone.
I stand to support this, or second this all-important motion, because the issue of maternal and infant mortality is a serious case, and it's been there with us. But the reasons are simple, because this is not where, it's not only in Nigeria you have pregnant women, it's not only in Nigeria you have deliveries, it's not only in Nigeria you have infants, but the rate of mortality is so high. And the reasons are simple, because for a long time we have played lip service as regards universal health coverage in this country. You cannot expect to have good soup without money. The issue is about funding. And luckily for us today in this country, new medical development have brought out vaccines. Most of these diseases are vaccine preventable, but unfortunately we don't have them. You talk about malaria. Malaria, yes. We need to talk about environmental cleanliness. We need to talk about hygiene. And I think we need to try to at least raise the awareness and support the sanitary improvement in this country. I remember when we were growing up, we used to have sanitary inspectors. But unfortunately today, we don't have them anymore. The fear of sanitary inspectors those days was the beginning of wisdom. So now we don't have that. I think it's high time we reestablish the existence of the sanitary inspectors, or increase the awareness as regards health, the need to live in a conducive, healthy, sanitary environment. That is number one. But the most important one is that even when we cannot do this, we have all these vaccines, but unfortunately, no money to provide them. And this House, especially the 7th Assembly, sat here and passed the National Health Act of 2014. But as I speak today, we are not implementing that act. Where we have to, we are supposed to raise 1% of the consolidated fund to set up a basic health fund. Mr. President, I believe that as a parliament, that is an act of the parliament. If the executive is not ready to implement it, but
let's do our own bit by ensuring that this basic health fund is captured in the appropriation. Then when we capture it, then we'll confirm whether they will do it or not. Because if we do that, then we'll provide these vaccines, we'll make sure that we equip our hospitals. You remember that in recognition of this fact, the president promised Nigerians that by last year, 2016, that 1,000 primary health care centers were supposed to be revitalized. But as I speak today, I'm not even sure up to 10 is being revitalized. So I think we have to take the bull by the horn. We have to use a parliamentary initiative ensuring that we establish that basic health fund. And when we establish through oversight, we'll ensure its implementation. But Mr. President, if we don't do that, you find out that we are joking with our future. Because when you say out of every 10 deliveries, you just have 9 deaths out of every 10 deaths, which is just 1% survivor, which is not good for a country like Nigeria, unless that is a deliberate policy to do, that is what you call it now, to reduce birth or to reduce our population. That is the only way. But for that, I don't see reason why we should not, as a people, decide to take this bull by the horn. So I'm suggesting, and I'm of opinion that we should establish that basic health fund going by this year. And I know that the Senate President has promised that. So at least let's have the courage and the willpower to establish that and let the executive do that. But I believe that when we have enough fund to get vaccines and to develop our healthcare system, make sure that at least in every ward or a minimum of every local government there is a functional primary healthcare center with maternity ward, well-trained and motivated better attendants. I think we will see definitely a drastic reduction in maternal and infant mortality. Mr. President, on this note, I support this motion.
Senator Mwangashafa.
Thank you once again, Mr. President. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. Benga Shafar, representing Lagos East Senatorial District. I rise to further support this motion and to boldly say that the healthcare system in Nigeria is dying. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, this past weekend I had an eye care program which involved foreign medical consultants coming to Nigeria, partnering with their colleagues here in Nigeria to do surgeries for those who had already been screened about 2 months ago. About 2,800 people came. Out of the 2,800, they could not continue with any treatment pertaining to surgery with about 1,004. Why? Because they were walking corpses. Their average blood pressure was about 250/130. Women, men, and middle-aged Nigerians. Now, if we look at the components of this motion, we'll come to realize that our country has failed to follow the laid down indices of providing health care for the masses as laid down by the World Health Organization. The basis for this are about 8 components. One is public education. The second one is nutrition. Number 3, supply of clean and potable water to drink. And then the spread of primary health care in the remotest areas. Now,
this and you look at what is on ground, you will see that we are way, way far behind. My own contribution is that we should be bold to declare a state of emergency in our health sector. We must do that in order to arrest the number of people that are dying by the day, unrecorded. As a matter of fact, because of the collapse of our health care system, the primary health care system, you cannot compare the number of lives lost during terrorism to the number of lives being lost on a daily basis. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I want to commend the mover of this motion, my brother, Senator Ahmed Ogembe, and to all this House to let us go straight to those resolutions, and maybe we'll find a way of getting our country back in the right path. Thank you very much.
All right, finally, let's hear from a woman, and then we'll go to the prayers. Senator Odua. Am I a woman?
Thank you, Mr. President. Dear colleagues, my name is Stella Odua. I represent Anambra North. Mr. President, it's indeed alarming and shocking that today, in this century, that we lose daily 2,300 and then 145 on a daily basis. That's the mortality rate. Mr. President, it's also shocking to note that we rank second in the world by deaths that are preventable and deaths that are treatable.
All right, thank you. We've heard their contribution. Well, distinguished colleagues, I want to thank Senator Gembe for calling our attention to this very disturbing phenomenon. The maternal and infant mortality is also very worrisome because by process of recreation, we'll continue to maintain our population. And that's essentially why God has said that we should go out and recreate. So I think that if we allow a situation where our women and our children keep dying, it will come to a day where there will be nobody living in this part of the world. So it is important that we hold this as quickly as possible. Yes, the birth rate seems to be outnumbering the death rate because of the number of children we produce there, number of wives we have. So I'm sure that with education and civilization, the number of children and number of wives will also reduce. So if the infant mortality and the maternal mortality keep increasing, it means that at some point, our population will also start decreasing. So the earlier we deal with this situation, the better for each and every one of us. So I want to thank Ogemba and those who have contributed to ensure that we be able to deal with this issue, as quickly as possible. So having said this, distinguished colleagues, we just go to the single prayer here before us, which is to mandate the Committee on Women Affairs and Health to liaise with the Federal Minister of Women Affairs and Health on ways to curb maternal, newborn, and infant mortality in Nigeria and report back to the Senate. Those in support of this prayer say aye. Those in support of this prayer say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. State leader.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the sixth order of the day is a motion standing in the name of Senator Suleiman Ukui is not even here now. Mr. President, Suleiman Ukui is not here. Consequent to this, Mr. President, I moved that the motion be stepped down to another legislative day. I so move.
May I, Mr. President, rise to second the motion that we step down this item till another legislative day?
The six colleagues in support of the motion that this particular item is stood down to another, they say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Senior Leader.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the seventh order of the day is a motion standing in the name of Senator Benjamin Mogu and 7 others on the urgent need to stop the increased rate of child labor, molestation, and abuse in Nigeria. Mr. President, you may wish to invite Senator Benjamin Mogu to move the motion.
Wajimogu.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Senator Benjamin Wajimogu. I represent the good people of Imo North. The motion is on the urgent need to stop the increasing rate of child labor, molestation, and abuse in Nigeria. Mr. President, the Senate is aware that children are a gift from God Almighty and as such should be loved, provided for, and protected. The Senate is also aware that this chamber passed the Child Rights Act and also committed itself to work with the International Labour Organization to combat child labor in Nigeria. The Senate is concerned that there is a sudden and disturbing rise in the rate of child labor, molestation, and abuse in Nigeria. It is also alarmed that the recent data published by the National Bureau of Statistics show that 50.8% of Nigerian children aged between 5 and 17 are engaged in child labor. It is also aware that child labor entails work that are mentally, physically, socially, or morally dangerous and harmful to the children and ultimately deprive them the opportunity to good education. The Senate is concerned that often child domestic help are forced to do work that is way beyond their tender bodies, and this eventually stunts the general development of the child. The Senate is concerned that children who depend on the care of the adults are often molested and maltreated in ways that are outrightly inhuman. The Senate notes the concern the recent case in Lagos reported in the Vanguard newspaper of 14th November 2017, where a woman drew her 15-year-old maid from the balcony of a two-story building on the accusation that she stole her jewelry. See the further news, another case in Lagos reported in Punch newspaper of 6th January 2008, where a woman was arrested for locking up her 11-year-old housemate in a poorly ventilated house with food and travel for the Christmas. The Senate is worried that a 2014 survey by the Nigerian Population Commission shows that 6 out of every 10 children have experienced some form of violence, and 50% of all Nigerian children have experienced physical violence, and that between 2014 and now, the situation has not improved. The Senate is disturbed that child sexual abuse is beginning to rear up its ugly head in Nigeria, and recently it was reported that in Lagos, a school supervisor was accused of sexually molesting a 2-year-old child. The Senate is aware of the case in Kano reported on the 4th of May 2017, where a man in connivance with his wife raped a 6-month-old baby, following an advice of a native doctor. The Senate is aware that a case reported in March 2017, a 55-year-old in Katsina was accused of raping a 7-month-old child, who is also his stepchild. The Senate observes that now is the time to declare a state of emergency against all forms of child abuse in Nigeria. The Senate is aware that Section 14, Subsection 2B of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended states that the security and welfare of the people shall be the primary purpose of government. The Senate accordingly resolves to urge the Minister of Women Affairs to take measures that will arrest this war against the right of children, and 2, call on
on the members of the Senate Committee on Women Affairs and Youth Development to investigate the viral trend and report back to the Senate in Togo. And so, thank you.
All right, we'll take Gashon Bassi, Senator Matthew Rigide, and then Ochendo, then we'll go to the prayers.
Thank you, Mr. President. Gashon Bassi, Cross River South Senatorial District.
The Imo has already been represented. Put back a microphone. Put back a microphone.
Thank you, Mr. President. Gashon Bassi, Cross River South Senatorial District. Mr. President, in seconding this motion, let me congratulate the mover, Senator Ben, on bringing up what is a very important issue in our society today. The increasing rate of child abuse, child labor, molestation, and so on, offenses against children generally, is quite alarming. And I think it's important that this Senate brings this issue to the fore. The enforcement of some of our laws has become extremely important because children are not being protected in the way in which they should be protected. And therefore, I second this motion in its entirety and urge my colleagues to also support this motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Gashon Bassi. Senator Matthew Rigide.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, and Senator Matthew Rigide, I present all the good people of the South Senatorial District. Mr. President, I want to lend my voice in support of this motion ably moved by Senator Wajimogu. Mr. President, every right-thinking Nigerian and everyone that is conversant with contemporary happenings in this country is aware that no day passes you don't read in the print media one heinous crime perpetrated by our adults against our youths, against our children. At times when you read these stories in the paper, it's sickly that somebody who is an adult in his right senses as a male will have an abuse on a child that is maybe from 6 months to 7 years to 12 years old. And it is very difficult to discern between those that have some mental stability and those, of course, who have one form of derangement or the other. Otherwise, there is nothing that can explain the type of sexual abuse that an adult male will want to met out on a baby female, and he says he has some mental stability. Certainly not. So I think there's some element of mental derangement that is pervading our country, that of course the health authorities must go into very quickly to determine the mental stability of these people. If not out of psychosis, I don't see how a man on the advice of a native doctor can go and try, of course, to make love to a child that is 6 months old. Something certainly is wrong. I'm supporting this bill. Of course, maybe it should come as additional prayer. That the Federal Ministry of Health should equally determine the mental state of some of these people. Otherwise, you know, the way, the occurrence that we hear of this and see of this every day, it should call for national concern. We should really be bothered. As for child labor, in fact, the National Assembly since passed the Child Rights Act. It's a bill, it's a law. And if that is the case, and we have a linkage with the International Labour Organization, I think we need to be helped in enforcing that law, particularly those of us in this country who deliberately want to break the law. Because if, of course, the international convention we are subscribed to it, it is important, and of course it behoves from this country to uphold those conventions. So when it comes to child labor, anybody, by the time we say there are very serious reprisals that we meted out to people who engage these youths in abuse of labor, I think they too should be made to face, the consequences for molestation. Of course, we have seen it. I've seen it on NTA several times, particularly when a news line on Sundays. You will see a child, being molested, is injured, using hot iron, using one form of instrument or the other by those who guide them or those who look after them. And because of maybe, petty offenses, you will see that they are giving everlasting marks that will only portray the fact that this is an inhuman treatment. Mr. President, I believe we must be able to put some of these things into different compartments, and we must be very serious about it. This motion and the resolutions that will come from it, let us not treat it like any other one. Because our children, our own heritage, the way they live today must be of utmost concern to each and every one. And for an assembly like this, that is responsible for making law for the good governance of this country, we must see to it that the laws that we make, and of course we put in public domain in this country, that they are obeyed to the letter. Otherwise, let us visit serious consequences, as of course we have already suggested, in the resolutions, the prayers that are following this motion. I still support, Mr. President.
All right, finally, Senator Ochendo.
Thank you, Your Excellency. My name is Senator C.A. Oje Ochendo. I represent Abia, the Central. Your Excellency, I want to support this motion. It is a very obvious motion and a pathetic one, for that matter. He has said it, we believe, all of us, Christians and Muslims, we believe that children are gifts from God. And when you get such gifts, you don't play with that type of gift. We know the pains and agony that childless parents undergo in order to get children. And when they get them, you have to treat them very, very well. But it's unfortunate that majority of the people in this society, wicked people, don't want to see children. I don't know what the children have done to them. If you now annihilate all the children that we have in this country, who will live in this country? Because we were children sometime before we became adults. What Senator, my brother Senator Wajimogu has listed here is just a few. There are many things that are happening to children in this country. Some of them are even used for rituals, Your Excellency. You will not believe this. And these are what people in Nigeria, people who call themselves human beings, are doing, perpetrating against these innocent, very innocent children who have come into this world, not by their own making. You don't need to bring in a child in this world and punish that child. No. We all must stand against it. So I support what Senator Wajimogu has said, that we will fight against this by making our own laws. We have laws, but they're not being obeyed. Those criminals don't obey these laws. But what I want to add is that if any person is caught and brought to the law court, the person who is in charge there, the judge, should not have any mercy. You must make sure that that man suffers, so that it becomes a deterrent to others who may be tempted to do these nasty things on these innocent children that we have. On that note, Your Excellency, I want to support the motion.
Thank you, distinguished. I know that a lot of people would have wanted to speak, but we still have a couple of emotions waiting to be addressed. So please, I just want to appeal for your understanding. I also do hope that those who spoke your mind as well in support of the motion. Let me just quickly thank those who had contributed and say that Nigeria has been a signatory to a number of international conventions regarding the right of the child, including the African Charter on the Right of the Child, the UN Convention on Human Rights, as well as our local legislations, including the Child Rights Act and also the Universal Basic Education Act, which makes the education of children compulsory. So unfortunately, we've not been able to adhere to some of these legislations and protocols. So I think the problem is not just legislation. I think the major problem is enforcement. So I would think that it's time for us to begin to consider the possibility of setting up a special court to enforce some of these rights of the children, so that those who flout them will be able to be punished, adequately as an example to others. So it's something we need to, because any child that's molested, abused, have a very little chance of making it in life, because the physical abuse, the emotional abuse, all of that affects the growth of the child. So we must give everyone an equal opportunity to grow to be whatever he or she can be. So I want to thank Senator Jimogu for raising this issue once more. And I do hope that our parents, the general public, and all those who abuse their children will also take a cue from some of the sentiments expressed here today. So once more, I want to thank everybody. So let's quickly go to the prayers. Prayer 1, urge the Minister of Women Affairs to take measures that would arrest this war against the right of children. Those in support of this prayer say aye. Those against it, amendment Gishon.
Thank you, Mr. President. Gashambasi, Cross River South. I would say that we should urge the security agencies and the Minister of Women Affairs to take measures that would arrest this war against the rights of children.
Any person supporting the amendment? Senator Anyao.
Mr. President, I rise to second the amendment of the prayer that all the security agencies and Minister of Women Affairs to take measures that will arrest this war against the rights of children.
So, for the amendment?
So I think we should urge the Ministry of Women Affairs, not the Minister of Women Affairs.
Okay. Those support of prayer 1 as amended, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer 2. Call on the members of the Senate Committee on Women Affairs and Youth Development to investigate the viral trend and report back to the Senate in 2 weeks. Those support of this prayer say aye. Amendment is number 2.
Mr. President, again, Senator Matthew Rogide, you are aware that we have Ministry of Youth and Sports, and then of course we have Ministry of Women Affairs. So it's not one ministry, just not one committee that we have in the Senate. So it's a call on members of the Senate committees on Women Affairs, and then of course Sports and Youth Development, because we don't have them as Women and Youth Development. We have Sports and Youth Development. Sorry?
Why don't we just leave this for Women Affairs and then remove the issue of youth? Health. Okay. We have two committees on health. Senator Sabi?
I think it's even Ministry of Justice, because here we are talking about enforcement. There are laws. Why are they not being enforced? So Ministry, the Committee on Justice, I think is more appropriate. So because the fundamental issue is child abuse, and in most instances, when you look at it, it is the legal component of lack of enforcement that is actually, so the Women Affairs, yes, and then the...
So do we say Women Affairs and Justice? All right. Is there any person, yes, okay, Solomon.
Thank you, Mr. President. Distinguished colleague, I rise to second the motion as moved by Senator Sabi as second.
Brilliant, thank you. Distinguished colleagues, those in support of this prayer as amended, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Any other additional prayer, Senator Theogy?
Your Excellency, thank you very much, Your Excellency, my distinguished colleagues. My additional prayer will be to call on the judiciary to ensure that those who are brought before them are adequately punished and on time, so that it will serve as a deterrent to others. Yes, from
Kwangbaso, are you supporting it or you have a additional one? I said, okay, so let's finish with this one. Is anybody supporting this one? I think it says 2, it has covered it. Yeah, I think the bringing this, the committee on judiciary will help to address the issue you've raised. Yeah, but also as a former governor of Abia, you can also talk to your governor to start something seriously around that area, to bring those people to book immediately in Abia State, so others will learn. So,
thank you, Mr. President. My name is Senator Rabi Musa, representing Kano Central. Mr. President, one can see direct correlation between this subject matter
one hand, and of course on the other hand, illiteracy and poverty. Therefore, my additional prayer is to urge the federal, states, and local governments to provide good quality education and affordable, good quality and affordable education, and of course job opportunities to all across the country. Because I believe there is that correlation with this prayer. In the first place, that will be minimized or eradicated completely.
Is there any person seconding this? Is that corporate?
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, distinguished colleagues. I stand to second the motion heavily moved by Senator Congressman as his additional prayer. Thank you.
Which is to address the issue of poverty, right? Okay. Okay. All right. Distinguished colleagues, in support of the additional prayer, say aye. Those against saying the ayes have it. Senator Rugide.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I have this additional prayer to and reach those. Urge the Ministry of Health at federal and state levels to determine the mental stability of adult males that sexually abuse babies and juvenile, baby and juvenile child, female child. Yes.
Is there any person with him on this? All right, so let's hear from you.
I agree in line with the earlier submission that most of the people who are involved in all of this kind of abuse, if you check their mental status is actually suspect. So I think if we are to say this, it is to urge our, that is in collaboration between the security, particularly police, and our tertiary institution, because the point I'm trying to make here is, if you say states, most of them don't have the facility to check people's mental status. But what I'm saying here is that if you look at our tertiary institutions, teaching hospitals and the like, they will have the capacity to really subject these people to the kind of mental examination that can. So if that is it, let us now begin to have a collaboration between the Nigerian police and our health institutions to determine the mental status of victims, those people who are found to have molested or abused children, so that we can keep having some data. I think that is the point you are trying to make. So,
well, the problem with this, deceased colleague, I'm sure for a point of view of lawyers who are here, is that if once you bring that in, somebody who is being accused of molesting a child will now plead insanity. So if you say, if he is able to establish that he wasn't in the correct mental state, then he can get out of the matter. So that is dangerous. So people just can't say, oh, they didn't know what they were doing, they had a mental issue. And so it's a defense in law. So let's not go there if you ask me, because it's going to create a whole lot of escape route for those who will be accused of molesting children. So let's, Senator Rugide, want to insist.
Your Excellency, I believe, I appreciate what you have just said, sir. In fact, judging from the fact that you are a lawyer, but I want to say it is good for the state of statistics. Presently in Lagos State, somebody who drives against traffic, it's common sight in Lagos. But you go to the psychiatric hospital so that they determine your mental state. After a while, it will be established that all those who drive Oluwes and Dampos in Lagos are mad people. For the sake of it, let us have the statistics. So that let us now know that those who do these things, for the sake of statistics, that these are these people, and then of course we can even get the demographics, if they are more in this urban center or they are more in this place, so that we'll be able to tie it up. Nigerian Bureau of Statistics should be able to have some of these things, because this social malaise, as we are seeing them, it is important that we have a proper documentation, not just because from the point of view of the law. It is good that we know those who are doing these things, and by the time they go to the hospital, they go to some of these centers, let me just correct what Senator Sabi said. Why they not even put local governments is that some of them do not have the facilities. The states still have psychiatric outfits or facilities, just like the federal psychiatric facilities. So when somebody knows that I will be sent to a psychiatric facility to determine my state, I think it's part of it. It's just for the sake of it. I think it's important. Thank you.
Mr. Binta.
Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleague. My name is Binta Masigarwa Alamano. So for a man to rape a 6-year-old child, or a 1 year, 3 years, or even 10 years, is mentally sick. There's no need of you going to see if you're going to get a kind of a medical doctor to now determine the capacity of his, or the level of his mental health. But the most important thing that we need to look into, and which obviously has been encapsulated, are two key issues: education and poverty. And until we tackle these two menaces in our society, this thing will occur over and over. So I would have urged that here, I would have accepted what we have said, since the second prayer has captured it well: Women Affairs Ministry and that of Judiciary. Let them do all that is needful of that. But to me, for a man, an adult, a full-old 35 or 40-year-old man to sleep with a 6-month-old child. And so here in the 7th Assembly, an incident happened, and even monies were contributed for about a 6-year-old girl that was raped. And I was expecting to now know what is the status of this girl at this point in time. But so until the government stands to tackle those two menaces, it's appalling, it's sickening, but we must, as parents, take a drastic measure, not to speak with a lip service. Some of us have maids in our houses. How do we treat the maids? That's one thing we must start. The charity must start with us. If the way you treat your maid more than your child, obviously you have set a kind of a demarcation. So we must do that thing.
All right, let's not reopen the debate. I think we've had enough. All right, Senator, I think at this point, let us rest the additional prayer. All right, thank you, distinguished colleagues. Senate Leader.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the 8th order of the day is a motion standing in the name of Senator Jonah Jang on the urgent need to initiate proceedings for the release of certificates and mobilization of graduates of the Federal College of Education, Pakistan, Plateau State, to participate in the National Youth Service Corps program. Mr. President, you may wish to invite Senator Jonah Jang to move a motion.
Senator Jang.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm Senator Jonah David Jang, representing Plateau North. My very distinguished colleagues, I wish to bring a motion under matters of urgent public importance for the need to initiate proceedings for the release of certificates and mobilization of graduates of the Federal College of Education, Pangshin, Plateau State, to participate in the National Youth Service Corps program. Note that the Federal College of Education, Pangshin, Plateau State is one of the numerous colleges of education established by the federal government. Also notes that the Federal College of Education, Pangshin, in addition to other programs, started to run degree programs in affiliation to the University of Jos in the year 2008. Also note that as a result of the approval granted by the National University Commission, the Federal College of Education, Pangshin, started to run Bachelor of Education degrees in 23 departments of the college and produced his first graduates in 2011, with many more subsequently. Concerned that the Federal College of Education has failed or neglected to issue certificates to her graduates and to mobilize them for the mandatory National Youth Service Corps program as when due. Worried that the graduates are always never sure of when to get their certificates and when to be mobilized for their mandatory National Youth Service Corps program. Also worried that the graduates of the college have suffered this delay ranging from 2 to 3 years before release of their certificates and mobilization for National Youth Service Corps program. Also worried that the sets awaiting release of their certificates and mobilization for National Youth Service Corps program graduated in the years 2016 and 2017 respectively. And also worried that in the next 3 months, another set of graduates will be graduating. Concerned that as a result of these delays, the students have suffered untold hardships considering the fact that, considering the lack of certificates and lack of mandatory National Youth Service Corps program, and also concerned that as youth, the effects on them can be better imagined than experienced. Disturbed that since the primary purpose of the college is to prepare and graduate students to participate in national development, delaying their certificates and not mobilizing them for National Youth Service Corps program for periods up to 2 or 3 years in some instances is both morally and legally wrong. Accordingly, the Senate is urged to resolve as follows. 1, that the Senate Committee on Education be mandated as a matter of urgency to investigate this matter. 2, that the Minister of Education should be invited to explain why students of the college are not issued their certificates and mobilized for the National Youth Service Corps program as a went due, even after fulfilling requisite academic and financial obligations to the college. Thirdly, that the management of the institution be invited to explain circumstances surrounding the delay in the release of the certificates and mobilization of the students as a went due. And fourthly, that the college be mandated to issue the graduates of 2016-2017 with their certificates and mobilize them for the next National Youth Service Corps program forthwith. So, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, these students are coming from all over the country as they are members, as the college is a federal college of education. And I therefore move that you support this program, this motion so that these students should start being put to suffer unnecessarily. Thank you for the opportunity to present their case here on this hallowed campus.
Senator Seni, are you seconding the motion?
Yes, sir, Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues. I'm General Husseini, Senator Husseini, all the same. General. Jerry Boy. All right, Jerry Boy, Baba Meto. Yeah, Jerry Boy. From Plateau South, I rise to support this, to second this motion because it is very, very important, especially when I come from that area and these students have been coming every now and then. So it's very good that this memo is this motion is being sponsored for proper preparation. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Senator Jerry Useni, formerly known as Jerry Boy. Well, this matter calls for investigation, so we cannot go into the details, the matter until find out what that might take. Is that I think the most important prayer here is prayer 1 to find out exactly what is going on. And thank you. This is going to support of the motion that they stand down the remaining items on other paper to another institute. They say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. State leader.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, having concluded today's proceedings on the other paper, I hereby move that the Senate do adjourn to Wednesday, 7th March 2018 at 10 a.m. I so move.
Mr. President,
motion as moved by the Senate leader.
All right, before I put the question, let me, on behalf of the colleagues, thank the Deputy Whip for stepping in today as the Senate leader and doing a very good job. And Senator, the distinct Senator Bukaraba for filling in the gap of a chief whip today. I want to thank all of you for making sure that their job was quite easy and straightforward. So having said this, dear colleagues, those in support of the motion that Senate do now adjourn to Wednesday, the 7th day of March 2018 at 10 a.m. prompt, say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it.